And welcome back. Sadly enough, there's nothing I can do about the brightness. So we're just gonna have to soldier on, really.
As on the previous evening, Bavragor sits apart from the others. But tonight, he waves you over.
Smeralda, my sister. You want to know what happened, right?
You nod and sit down.
She followed Boindle into battle. We tried to talk her out of it, but she was as unyielding as a mountain. Then came the day when the High Pass was attacked.
Bavragor drinks from his liquor.
He killed her. Blinded by the frenzy of battle, he thought she was one of the enemy. I can never forgive him. He killed my sister. Could you?
You inevitably remember the loss of Lot Yonan, Frala, and her children. You remain sitting in silence, each of you deep in thought. Boendal approaches, having either heard you or guessing what you are talking about.
His fierce life forge is a curse. He thought the orcs had robbed him of his love, and the ire came over him. Sometimes he calls her name in his dreams. Oh, he'd never admit it, but he suffers just like Bavragor. He too loved her.
The stonemason doesn't react, so you and Boendal go back to the others by the fire.
That was pretty traumatic. Like, geez, I know Bowendar's a berserker, but killing his own wife? Well, lover.
A two-story tavern sits on the corner of a crossroads. The snow around the building has been cleared away, and a warm light is coming from inside. The sign above the door reads, Minstrel Castle.
Minstrel Castle? That sounds promising.
Oh, sweet mother of God, help us.
The old building has nothing in common with a castle. It seems rather nondescript. A simple tavern for simple people.
Huh.
Finally! Time for ale!
Jesus, what
My
have I done?
throat is completely parched.
I've just broken another
As
tavern.
much as I hate agreeing with you, I too can hardly wait.
You enter the tavern with Bavragor and Boindil in front. On first impression, the interior is as inconspicuous as the outside.
All I can hear
But
is
when
the
you take a
innkeep
closer
just
look,
being like,
you
"Hurry,
spot a couple of
dwarves,
paintings of minstrels in front of a
hide the
castle.
bear,
A
save the
small
money."
stage that, judging by the dust, is only very rarely used, and a lute hanging on the wall behind the bar. There are not very many guests on the ground floor, perhaps a dozen, and most of them belong to a group of mercenaries who have retreated into the far corner. You sit at a table, and after a while you are brought the ale that Boindil has ordered.
Very good damn ale. Hurry! Bad ale first, good ale last. These are dwarfs. Yeah, I'll talk to the group of orange humans.
Good day, gentlemen. Get lost, Groundling.
Okay.
Be quiet!
The good dwarf may want to make use of our services, if you stop insulting him.
The mercenary immediately becomes sheepish and concentrates on his tankard of beer.
My name is Gurnham, the leader of this troop.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Gurnham. I am Tungdil Goldhand. I actually do wish to inquire after your services against an orc camp in the west.
The leader of the mercenaries looks at you, trying to size you up.
You and your companions look as though you know how to handle your weapons. Must be a damn big orc camp.
It is.
Otherwise, we wouldn't ask for your help. So, are you in?
Better not be a side quest.
Why not? 500 gold coins for me and 9 of my men. In advance.
You go back to the mercenaries. They look up briefly before turning back to their drinks.
So, have you made your decision, dwarf?
Did I ever leave? Rodario's good with words, but Namora is so pretty.
You send Namora to try and haggle down the price of the mercenaries.
If it will help against the orcs. Hey guys, we need your help with a couple of orcs. Name your price.
The men look up, and as they see who is standing in front of them, their faces brighten.
We wouldn't take money from someone like you, sweetheart. I'm sure you can show your appreciation in other ways.
Namora says nothing. She stares into the man's eyes, and he falls silent. He seems to shrink, and to have lost the capacity to talk. Finally, Namora looks away and turns to go.
All right then, I'll find someone else.
Wait, stay here, darling.
The young mercenary jumps up and tries to hold Namora back by the arm, but she sidesteps quickly and he grasps at thin air. He trips over Namora's foot, which just happens to be in the right place, and clatters to the floor.
Oh, come on, boys. Don't you know how to treat a lady?
The leader of the mercenaries smiles at Namora, revealing several missing teeth.
For such a beautiful woman like you, we'll make a very special price. For 250 gold pieces, we'll demonstrate what we're capable of.
Ah, yes. Now I will release Rodario.
You ask Rodario to negotiate with the mercenaries. Happy to be able to demonstrate his skills, the actor steps over to the mercenaries' table.
I'm going to regret this
fellows,
choice.
if I may introduce myself, I am the fabulous Rodario.
Huh? What do you want?
Without even waiting for Rodario to introduce himself, one of the younger mercenaries interrupts him. Rodario isn't put off his stride for long and starts again.
Well, what I wanted to say is that I immediately recognize you as a group of experienced warriors who have already
probably
won
gonna bump
several,
up the
if not even
price.
innumerable battles. But have you ever received the
Damn it,
recognition that you
Rodario.
deserve? A gifted poet like me could write a fantastic drama about your stories.
A play?
Indeed, your legend will live forever. Generations of people will talk about you.
And you're saying that wouldn't happen anyway?
While Rodario is still looking for a suitable answer, the mercenary laughs.
I'm just pulling your leg. Now get lost. We don't need verse. We need money.
I'm actually going to save it right here. Oh, I can't.
You nod at the mercenaries before you turn away and walk back to the others.
I'll save it later.
You go to the bar where the landlady is working and sit on a stool. The landlady, a stout, middle-aged woman with long hair tied in a ponytail, looks up briefly but says nothing.
Might as well.
Say, why is the tavern called Minstrel
Okay, we don't need to...
Oh, you don't know the legend, dwarf.
Oh, God. No, no,
One
no.
of
Not the
guests
side
next to you at
quest.
the
Not
bar
the side
takes up
quest.
your question.
There was a castle here once. No one knows its name anymore, so everyone just calls it Minstrel Castle. Once upon a time, a king lived in that castle. He had many subjects and an enchanting queen. But one day a young minstrel came along and sang of wonderful far-off lands, and the subjects began to complain about their own lives. So the king sent for the singer to hear for himself. He came and sang a wonderful love song, and the king began to be scared. He thought that the minstrel wanted to steal away his queen. Without flinching, he drew his sword and struck the boy down. His father heard of this. He was himself a singer, and so he went to the king and played a terrible song, a curse. The king was to vanish in silence, and no one was to remember his name.
And that's what happened. No one remembers the name of the king or his castle. Make of it what you will. The story's certainly well known enough in the area to give Arin its name.
You see, I had a feeling that Rodario was to blame for that price, for not dropping the price. Consider the fact that Rodario is Flitter. Oh, I already got one of those, though. I think that's it.
You nod.
The reason why I've rushed out is to save it for other reasons. But now we will continue.
You arrive at an empty jetty on Lake Anteria. You can see several fishing boats on the lake, and there's a small village on the other shore.
Ah, Pulbrook. What an idyllic little place. And then there's the miller's daughter.
You turn around and continue on your journey.
What I want to do is a massive loop up here, then here, so we might be able to catch these orcs. Because I know we have to go up here anyway.
The size
Actually,
of the fields
just
and the
realised
farmsteads
something.
grow
You can
as
read
you
this
get
bit.
closer to
Where the hell is the
Valenciensis,
Brown Range?
the old border city in the north.
Because
The old city
if they were
wall
talking
is
about
much
the
too
High Pass
small
being
for the
attacked by
size of today's
orcs,
settlement. Everywhere,
and then
little
the Fiflings
cottages
were the
and
front
even
line.
the odd magnificent estate extend beyond the wall.
The house that Henson was talking about must be somewhere on the south wall. We need the bell if we're going to open the path through the mountains.
You try to gain access to the city, but the guards on the wall are unyielding. The orc armies in the south and the movement of the Perish land has prompted the city council to lock Valenciensis up. You try not to show your disappointment, but Boindil looks at you curiously.
Is a house full of dusty books really
Jesus,
that
not
important,
again.
scholar? That's no place for a dwarf.
by Vracus.
There are also books by dwarves and about dwarves in that archive. They've practically got everything that has ever been written. They've even got notes on the races of Girdlegard, singularities and oddities by M.A. Het.
I have a feeling that's a
about
reference.
Dwarves? That really
Yeah.
can't be any good at all.
You follow the street to an estate on the south wall, which is surrounded by a fence. The paved path to the door is lined with hydrangea. You knock on the door gently, and after a while it is opened by a chubby man in expensive
Namora!
clothes. The man gives you a fleeting glance.
We don't want to buy anything.
He intends to close the door again without waiting for your answer.
Wait, I've been told you have a rare bell? Fire Eater.
The man pauses.
Fire Eater? How?
Before he can finish what he's saying, a red-haired woman pushes past him. She is also wearing expensive clothes and is heavily made up. After she gives him a stern look, the man disappears into the house. She scrutinizes you with greenish-blue eyes.
How do you know about that, Shorty?
Greenish blue eyes.
A man called Henson.
Henson? The vagabond that broke into our house? But now he's sending groundlings to assassinate us and steal our belongings.
Why does
What
everyone
did he
hate
tell you?
dwarfs?
That we have gold,
I know
jewels?
they're greedy, but still.
No. Henson is our adversary. We want to snatch the bell away from under his nose.
The woman's eyes pierce through you. You manage with great effort to resist her gaze.
I'd like to get that ugly thing out of the house. All right, then. I'll sell you the bell for 500 gold pieces.
That really is too expensive. Perhaps we can...
Before you know it, the door is slammed shut in your
Oh,
face.
thank you too, miss.
You go back to the rest of the group.
Doesn't look like it went too well. Maybe I should try my
Redario.
luck, Tangdil. I can be very persuasive.
Back at the tavern 5 minutes ago. Very well. Get him.
Redario
Release the
follows the
Redario.
hydrangea-lined path to the door in elegant strides. He knocks on the door energetically, and a little later the door is opened by a red-headed woman. When she sees Redario, her expression lightens. She opens the door fully and takes a tentative step forward.
What can I do for you? Are you a singer? An actor? Or a lute player?
He's Redario.
The name is Rodario Fairmaid, gifted showman, mime and dramatist. At your service.
Redario
Where's the-
elegantly pulls the hat from his
Where's
head
the hat?
and bows
Where's the
before
hat?
her.
Your wonderful hibiscus bushes really caught my attention. You have exquisite
Still,
taste.
greenish
The
blue
woman's
eyes. Why?
greenish-blue eyes flash with anger. It immediately becomes clear to Redario that he has made a mistake. It's about details, damn it. It's all about the details.
They're hydrangeas.
The woman turns around and heads inside
No,
the
no, no,
house.
no, no.
I will never be able to forget your greenish-blue eyes as long as I live.
It would seem to me you have a skilled tongue and a love of details.
Anyone who does not notice your beauty must be walking through life with eyes closed. In terms of my tongue...
Oh, Mr. Rodario. How about a private presentation of your skills?
How the hell did
Rodario
he
lays
do
an
that?
experienced hand around the woman's waist and disappears into the house with her.
What the
At
fuck?
your the bell, as ordered. Apart from the esteemed Nomura, no woman has ever resisted my sweet words. Not to mention my hands when...
Okay.
All right.
You feel your
PG-13.
cheeks turning red
PG-13.
as you imagine what Rodario has just done.
The fact that he can make himself look into anyone, it doesn't help. And how? I got one detail wrong, and she was about to slam the door, and then he said greenish blue eyes. Seriously, what the hell?
In the middle of the path in front of you, you see an upended wagon, but neither draft animals nor owner are in sight. You approach carefully, but still can't make anything out from close up, apart from a few arrows sticking of a woman come
I'll
from
pay
the nearby
attention to here. I
woods.
can't figure out what the brown range is.
Nomura disappears into the forest.
Means.
I see. Confront the
Mora,
bandits.
keep your eyes on the archers. Everyone else, prepare yourselves for a fight.
Without any particular, she's being threatened by the two men.
Enough of the acting. We know what's going on. The 5 archers can come out now too if they want.
In front of you are clearly confused.
Yeah, wait a minute. Give us your provisions and gold and,
Ugh, don't bother.
The woman has stood up and stands in front of the men.
We'll just take what we need. Grab 'em!
As she draws her sword, the two men charge and several arrows come flying out of the forest. A number of the arrows reach their target, and not all of them bounce off your armor. The quicker of the two men in the clearing has it.
I feel sorry for him.
Boindale's axes gouge into the man's shoulders, and he wrenches him from his feet with the force of the attack. The other man and the woman stare at you in shock, turn around and run away from you and into the forest. The arrow fire also stops abruptly.
I can't
They're
blame
running
him.
away!
Nomura follows the thieves, while you wait in the clearing. As evening approaches, a figure appears next to you from out of the darkness.
Nomura!
Fergus jumps
Aw.
up, and moments later has embraced her tightly.
Aww.
Were you able to find out anything?
I have a soft spot.
They didn't detect me and led me straight to their hideout. I can show you. It's a cave some miles from the path. Almost 4 dozen people, men, women and children.
You nod. You have tracked down the thieves' hideout.
Ah. So this is where she's been hiding out. Shame there's actually been no fire.
You can make out a cave in the bank of a dried-out riverbed, with several small fires burning in it. You don't see any guards, so you approach carefully. Men and women jump as they notice you. There is terror written in their emaciated faces. When a little girl screams and runs away from you, the whole camp is alerted, and a group of men and women step out of the cave.
Who are you?
The man resembles Tavia. His face too tells of a struggle between defiant determination and fatigue and resignation.
I am Gerald, Tavia's brother.
Oh, okay.
I led these people here from Tavern.
You look around you. You guess there are about 10 families, less than 50 people. Tabayin is a fertile country in the north, but much more importantly these days, it borders the Perish land to the east. It's as if he's looking through you.
The perished land is raging. It poisons the spirit, and those who become possessed by it just...
Gerald looks at his hands, which he involuntarily forms into claws.
They no longer recognize you. Brothers, mothers, children. My brother-in-law. I had to...
With visible effort, he wrenches himself free of his terrible memories.
We can only hope that the Magi managed to build a new barrier soon.
You cannot bring yourself to quash the last hope he has.
Your people had no chance of throwing us off. As soon as Namora was on their heels, they had already lost.
That's true.
What about Tavia? Where is she?
Tavia was caught and is locked up in secret.
Yeah, I'll get there.
She can be glad they didn't just hang her from the nearest tree. I did warn her.
Gerald tries but fails to completely hide his worry.
Tavia went to Seaton on her own initiative.
Our gold was gone and our supplies were dwindling, despite being on half rations. I said we should just take what we need if no one is going to help us, but my sister wouldn't have anything to do with it.
Can't blame her.
She took the wedding jewellery from our village, the most valuable thing we had with us, and sold it without my knowing. She then took this money and went to Seaton with several men. I was completely beside myself when I heard about it, but then they came back with food and grain, and I thought they had really done it.
He laughs cheerlessly and shakes his head.
For a few minutes we thought we were saved.
What's wrong with the grain from Seaton?
We thought we finally had a change of luck for the better. We were praying for a new start, but then we discovered that most of the grain was rotten and unusable. They'd been ripped off by the bloody steward.
Figured.
We all got together and discussed what was to be done. The majority was in favour of taking what was due at any price. The next morning, Tavia disappeared. It was clear to me that she had returned to Seaton. We were going to give her a couple of days, and in the meantime, we prepared for our attack. We needed weapons, and we needed a plan.
Well, good thing I'm here.
The supplies and the grain, where are they?
Gerald glances at your companions.
The grain is mainly useless. There's only 4 or 5 usable sacks. We shared out the supplies, and that'll keep us going for the next few weeks.
You see, I don't actually know. I don't want them all. You can keep the grain, but give us the supplies. They're fine with the supplies.
If you return the grain,
That's
Father
probably the
Malin
best.
may temper justice with mercy.
Mercy?
Gerald spits at the floor.
Let my people starve so that the people in Seaton can live in affluence for another year? No, I won't let my family die. The grain and the supplies stay here.
Gerald braces himself, placing his right hand on his axe.
Yeah, there we go. That's the option I want.
We should appease the people of Seaton. Give them back half their grain.
You raise your hand to nip Gerald's objection in the bud.
I am, of course, talking about the rotten grain. You keep the good grain, we will receive at least part of our reward, and Morris will be forced to explain how his excellent grain could turn rotten so quickly.
Boindale stares at you. Then a grin slowly spreads across his face.
Ha! That's our scholar.
What?
You
That's
see
like
tired but happy faces all around you. The people breathe a collective sigh of relief.
We'll take half of the grain back in secret. Know this, good dwarf. Whenever you need help, we will stand by your side. We don't have much to offer you, but we can muster together a few strong arms for battle, and we have some outstanding archers.
You nod and are happy to have made some new friends.
We wouldn't ask if it wasn't important.
Oh, I got
but
that achievement.
We need your help to destroy
Cool.
an orc stronghold.
Gerald nods.
We're in your debt. We'll send our 5 best archers.
So long, my friend.
So, let me just... I'll explain it next time. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, and all that jazz.